E bella lì ragazzi, e benvenuti in questo nuovo video. Siamo qua di fronte, che vi presento il Metal Gear Solid 3. Ho fatto missione Europa. Missione Europa e mi ha dato italiano. Sud America non dava italiano, dava le altre lingue. Vediamo se me lo ricordo. Metal Gear Solid 3, non mica se l'ho giocato, non l'ho giocato. Vediamo. E come al solito vi ricordo di iscrivervi al canale attivando campanellina. Queste opzioni, sangue, sì. Normale. Telecamera, alto, basso. Normale. Non fa fare. Attenzioni, nuova partita. Sto giocando con la serie per la prima volta. Facciamo no, facilissimo, facile, normale, standard. Ma facciamo normale io.
After the end of World War II, the world was split into two, East and West. This marked the beginning of the era called the Cold War.
Allora solo i sottotitoli in italiano, l'audio è sempre in inglese. Pensavo di aver... Non me lo ricordo proprio. Boh, vediamo.
Altitude 30,000 feet. Approaching Soviet airspace. 20 minutes to drop off. Commencing internal depressurization. Equipment check. Arm main parachute. All right. You ready to go? Drop zone still showing a high pressure mass. Cab okay. Good. We've got high visibility.
Col sigaro.
Connecting oxygen hose to interior connector. Put on your mask. Does this anyways know what he's doing?
Yeah.
Approaching release point. 10 minutes to drop off. Hey, are you deaf? He said put out the cigar and put on your mask. Depressurization complete. Checking oxygen supply. Temperature minus 46 degrees Celsius. 2 minutes to drop off. Stand up. You'll be falling at 130 miles per hour. Don't get frostbite from the wind chill. 1 minute to drop off. Move to the rear. Activate bailout model. This is one for the history books. The world's first halo jump. 10 seconds to drop off. Stand by. Status okay, all green. Prepare for drop off. Countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spread your wings and fly. God be with you.
Voilà.
Jack, I've got some important news. The head of the CIA has finally given us the green light for the virtuous mission.
Virtual mission?
No, the virtuous mission. The future of our Fox unit depends on it. If it succeeds, we'll be officially organized into a unit.
Virtuous mission? Sounds like some kind of initiation ritual.
You know, don't get cocky. This isn't a training arm.
Right. So what exactly is this wonderful mission?
Well, about 2 years ago, a certain Soviet scientist requested asylum in the West through one of our moles. His name is Nikolai Stepanovich Sokolov. He's head of the OKB 754 Design Bureau, one of the Soviets' top-secret weapon research facilities, and the East's foremost expert on weapons development.
Sokolov? Isn't he that famous rocket scientist?
The very same. On April the 12th, 1961, the Soviets achieved the first manned spaceflight in history.
The Earth was blue, but there was no God.
Well spoken. The rocket that carried Yuri Gagarin to orbit was the A-1, known as the Vostok rocket. Sokolov is said to be the man most responsible for the multi-engine cluster used in that rocket. After Gagarin's flight, Sokolov left rocket development, becoming head of the newly established Design Bureau.
From a lowly technician to head of a design bureau, that's quite a success story. So why do you want to defect?
It seems he'd become afraid of his own creations.
Afraid?
Call it a crisis of conscience.
And for that, he left his country and his family behind and went over the fence?
Not exactly. One of his conditions was that his family was also to be taken safely to the West. He used a mole to get the family out first and succeeded in sneaking Sokolov over the Berlin Wall shortly afterwards. I was the one who conducted the operation.
The security on the eastern side was still full of holes back then. Then what?
We got Sokolov over in one piece, but the whole ordeal had left him exhausted, and we checked him into a hospital in West Berlin. It took him 2 weeks and more than 600 miles to get from the research facility in the Soviet Union to Berlin. He was in no condition to say anything coherent. And it was only a week later that we had something much bigger on our hands.
The Cuban Missile Crisis.
October the 16th, 1962, President Kennedy received word that the Soviets were in the process of deploying intermediate-range ballistic missiles in Cuba. The President demanded that the Soviets dismantle and remove the missiles. At the same time, he announced a naval blockade to prevent further missile shipments from reaching Cuba. But the Soviets didn't back down, instead placing their armed forces on secondary alert. Soviet transport ships carrying missiles continued on course towards Cuba. US and Soviet forces went on alert for an all-out nuclear war. Frantic negotiations were conducted through the UN's Emergency Security Council and unofficial channels to end the hair-trigger standoff. Finally, on October the 28th, the Soviet Union agreed to remove its missiles from Cuba, and so the world avoided a nuclear holocaust. But in order to get the Soviets to pull their missiles out, we had to make a deal.
You mean the one where the US agreed to remove its IRBMs from Turkey?
No. The Jupiter IRBMs deployed in Turkey were obsolete, and we were going to get rid of them anyway. They had no strategic value whatsoever to either the US or the Russians. The Turkey deal was a ruse, a cover story that was fed to the other intelligence agencies around the world.
So what did the Russians really want?
Sokolov. They wanted us to return Sokolov.
You mean the Soviets pulled out of Cuba just to get their hands on Sokolov?
That's right.
What the hell was he working on?
At the time, we had no idea. We were running out of time. It was either give up Sokolov or risk full-scale nuclear war. In the end, we had no choice. President Kennedy gave in to Khrushchev's demand. The next day, I got Sokolov out of the hospital, handed him over to agents on the eastern side. Sokolov kept on screaming, "Save me," until he disappeared from my sight. Then a month ago, we received some new information from one of our moles.
About Sokolov?
Yes. He was taken back to the research facility and forced to continue working on the weapon in question under KGB supervision. It's on the verge of completion.
So what kind of weapon is it? Something to do with space rockets?
No. Missile.
Same technology.
Tecnologia.
I guess you're right. We don't know the details, but it appears to be a new kind of nuclear device. For half a year now, the Soviets have been conducting frequent nuclear tests at Semipalatinsk.
Something to do with the weapon, I assume.
We're talking about a secret weapon so big that Khrushchev was ready to pull out of Cuba to get it back.
Is Sokolov still in the facility?
No. According to our intelligence, he's in Selino-Yatsk, a place in the mountains about 3 miles to the west that's known as the Virgin Cliffs.
The Virgin Cliffs. Nice name for a virtuous mission.
They moved him there just recently.
Why?
Apparently, they're conducting a field test of the weapon, but it's our best chance to get him back. This mission would never have been possible if he was still in the research facility. This is our last chance. Sokolov must have known that too when he contacted us.
Listen up, Jack. Your mission is to infiltrate Selino-Yatsk in the Soviet mountains, ensure the safety of Sokolov, and bring him back to the West. If we don't get Sokolov back before that weapon is complete, we'll be facing a major crisis. The clock is ticking.
Il tempo stringe. Sai,
Once we've confirmed the rescue of Sokolov,
atterriamo al
The
mare.
balloon will be dropped at that point. Helium will be pumped into
Poi
the balloon to
ragazzi,
inflate it. The process
con-
takes about 20 minutes.
Che circa 20 minuti.
Once it's complete, the gunship's arm will latch onto the balloon and pull it up.
The full
Cosa?
surface-to-air recovery system. I'm familiar with the theory.
Take it easy. It's been combat-proof.
Do you think Sokolov is up to it?
The shock will be less than during a parachute jump, and the arm can handle up to 500 pounds.
So you're planning on going over the border in a single combat Talon?
She's equipped with 2 6-barrel 20mm Vulcan cannons, as well as 2 40mm machine guns.
Sounds like she could hold her own against a battalion of tanks.
Even with the fuel in the reserve tank, we're facing a 4-hour time limit. If all goes well, it shouldn't take more than a few hours.
Home in time for dinner.
But if anything goes wrong,
You'll be eating dinner, breakfast.
and all the rest of your meals in the jungle.
Ah, in mezzo alla giungla come Rambo. Per me questi ci lasciano da soli nella giungla, vuoi vedere? Yabadum. Prima botta, so cosa abbiamo perso lì. Hai visto come è migliorato con gli aspetti? Trin trin.
Do you copy? You're already in enemy territory. Somebody might be listening in. From here on
Ascoltare.
out, we'll be using code names to refer to each other.
Perché
Your
marci?
code name for this mission will be Naked Snake. I'll be referring to you as Snake from now on. You're not to mention your real name.
Snake?
What, you don't like snakes?
What do you mean?
You've eaten one before, haven't you?
In survival training.
I'm glad to hear that.
I don't know if I'd ever order one in a restaurant, but...
Be careful, you might not have a choice.
What about you, Major? What should I call you?
Let's see. I'll be Tom. Call me Major Tom. This will be a sneaking mission. You must not be seen by the enemy. You must leave no trace of your presence. Is that clear? This kind of infiltration is the Fox unit's speciality. In other words, weapons and equipment are procured on site. That goes for food as well. You're completely naked, just as your name implies.
Great. Now I
Ottimo.
see why you asked me if I like snakes. I suppose calling me Snake was your idea of a joke, too.
No, there's a good reason for that. I'll tell you later when the time is right.
Gotcha. Getting back to the subject, how exactly am I supposed to feed myself?
You've been issued a knife and a tranquilizer gun. Use them to hunt for food. You'll also find some medical supplies in your backpack.
Yeah, about the backpack. I lost it in a tree on the way down.
I see. Well, you'd better go back and get it then. You know where it is?
No problem. I can see it from here. It's stuck on a branch.
To climb a tree, stand in front of a tree that's covered in
No,
ivy and...
possiamo arrampicarci. Se le
I'll be monitoring your
radici.
progress over the radio. We can't risk violating Soviet airspace, but I'll be in the gunship. My frequency is 140.85. I'll give you a call if I need to talk to you. If you need to talk to me, use the send function. Okay, Snake, go get your backpack.
Ah, praticamente adesso noi siamo nudi. L'unica arma che avevamo è sull'albero. Dobbiamo andare a recuperarla. Capire come... Non c'è, no. Ah no, questo per chiamare il tipo. E adesso dove lo troviamo? No. Cazzo, non servite per niente. Ah, eccola qua la borsa. E come la piglio, scusa? Ah, ok, presa.
I see you've retrieved your backpack, Snake. To equip a weapon, it's necessary to take it out of your backpack. In the survival viewer, choose Weapon from the backpack. Your available weapons will be displayed in a window in the upper left. From that list, choose the weapon you want to equip and press the Enter button. For other equipped items, just do the same thing from item.
Got it. Use the survival viewer backpack.
Yep, that's right. Survival is fundamental to this mission. After you've been out in the field for a while, your stamina will start to drop. If your stamina gets too low, it'll affect your performance. You won't be able to shoot accurately, for example, and your wounds won't heal as smoothly. Keep an eye on your stamina so you don't run out. To recover lost stamina, you can hunt for local flora and fauna. You can use either your tranquilizer gun or your knife to hunt.
My only weapon is a Mark 22 Hush Puppy tranquilizer gun.
That's right. It's been fitted with its own suppressor. However, the suppressor will deteriorate every time you fire. Once its durability reaches 0, the noise suppression effect will be gone. So don't get too trigger-happy with it. The suppressor's durability is shown in the item. Any weapons and equipment beyond what you're carrying now, you'll have to find as you go.
I have to find my own weapons and equipment? This crazy idea.
Ok, dai. A forse. Ok, dai. Leggo già il tuo nome in codice. Così la leggenda. Ok, abbiamo anche una compagna che ci aiuta, sì. Finora la tua voce, bene. Adesso come faccio a farla ripartire? Micchia. Ma...
Snake, try to remember some of the basics of CQC.
Rambo!
Commencing virtuous mission now.
Che dai il cibo. Ah, così. Ma qua col coltello. Cacchio devo andare qua? Allora, ci siamo... Ok, ci rompe i coglioni. Non so dove andare. Ah, là, aspetta, c'è un percorso forse. Oh, veramente abbiamo trovato. Figa, c'è anche il serpente, oddio.
Major, I've spotted 2 enemy soldiers.
They're probably KGB troops sent to guard Sokolov.
AK-47s and grenades.
Snake, your presence in Soviet territory is already a violation of international law. We can't let the Kremlin find out that the CIA and the American government are involved. Contact with the enemy is strictly prohibited. Don't engage them in battle either. This is a stealth mission. Got that?
The Major is right. The point of this mission is to sneak through the jungle without being seen. The success of the mission depends on how well you use your camouflage. Change your camouflage by selecting Camouflage from the Survival Viewer. The Uniform option lets you pick your uniform, while the Face option lets you change your face paint. Choosing camouflage that blends in with your surroundings will help you conceal yourself more effectively. Also, don't forget that anything that moves will stand out in the jungle. If you just stand up and run around like an idiot, you're bound to be spotted. But if you crawl instead, you should be able to sneak by without being noticed.
Se usciamo non
You
veniamo
can see how
beccati.
effective your camouflage is by looking at the camo index. The camo index shows how well your current camouflage blends in with the surrounding area. The higher the value, the harder you are to spot, and vice versa. The key is to make yourself one with nature. Keep that in mind as you go along, okay?
Ok. E vai tu? Questo è molto utile. No!
Who's this?
No, ha già un'incidenza. Ma non c'avevo anche dei... precedenti movimenti che... E male tutte quando ce la danno. Vabbè. Sta arrivando qualcuno. Oh. Adesso questo...
Snake, do you read? Snake!
Major.
Snake, are you all right?
Yeah, I'm okay.
You're far from okay. Look at your life gauge. You're on your last leg.
No, I can still...
See?
Oh cazzo. C'è una cazzo di mappa, non me la dà. Ma no, sono tornato sui coccodrilli, madonna. Queste cose sono difficili, cioè, il gioco dell'epoca non c'è un cazzo. Già se riesco a fare un altro pezzetto. Allora, qui dove ho steso questi qua. 1, 2, 3. C'è qualcosa? Sì, c'è qualcosa sull'albero. Non mi sembra. Qua non faccio più niente. Ok. Spero che si va di qua, spero. Ok. Mi sa che devo farmi una barba. Ah. Da zero se no.